News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukutali.
And top of the week to you, this is Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And a wonderful morning and a wonderful guest, fresh from his travels to New Zealand, legal personality, Mr. Gomin Faraz. Very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Faraz.
Nice to have you on the program again.
Thank you.
And I thought I'd pose this question to you. What is the need of the hour? Is it a new constitution? Is it a real need to fix the economy and deliver proper, solid government?
It's a very simple question, and a very simple answer will be that no one needs a constitution, because constitution will completely defeat Ranil Wickremesinghe and his cahoot Sumandiran, Abraham. So I don't think Abraham or Ranil will want this to move forward. I think they will delay it. They will try to win the election, and that's my fear. Ranil may have to contest Sirisena. I don't know what the outcome would be. It will be bizarre, because normally one would have expected Gotabaya Rajapaksa to contest the presidency. He's out of the picture because he's disqualified and will remain so. So it's going to be a very bizarre, very unhappy ending if you find Ranil Wickremesinghe coming back, because today he says in the mirror, I will have the constitution taken up later. So
once again he's recognizing the fact that he's not going to get a new constitution passed in the way that he envisages.
Certainly not, because the very thought of having Abraham Sumandiran in the picture means Sri Lankan Sinhala vote and the Muslim vote is out of the scene, and they will have to look at somebody else. But I can assure you, it's the economy that we must put right first, and I hope that somebody gets onto it, because everybody is dodging, avoiding that issue. What the people want is an economy where they can live and live well, live comfortably.
The national airline is a shambles. They talk about all sorts of things, but it is a huge drain on the treasury. And the cancellation fees paid out without cabinet approval on the cancellation of those aircraft is completely unacceptable.
You're right. I mean, Sri Lankan Airlines had an excellent agreement with Emirates. They broke it up and they tore it to pieces, and now they are in serious trouble, because I don't think they'll ever get back into reckoning as an individual airline, because we are too small for that kind of thing. But look, you exposed the excellent bond scam. Now I think it's time you get on to Sri Lankan Airlines, Mr. Faraz.
Well, the thing is now, I'm glad you mentioned the bond scam, because we have the press reporting that President Sirisena has taken up the matter of the FTA, the flawed FTA with Singapore, and we presume that he's also said the same about and brought the Singaporean Prime Minister up to speed with what has happened with Sri Lanka's need to have Arjuna Mahendran back. But Mr. Gomin Faraz, as a legal man, why can't Arjuna Mahendran be tried ex parte?
Of course he can be tried. I mean, no one will think of doing that, because the moment you try ex parte for order, he will know that he's going to get the works, and next thing we can do is to get him in a situation where he can be completely found guilty. But the problem is to execute the order of guilt. That will be difficult.
Well, I do beg your pardon. I mean, yes, when he'll continue to try to be on the run, but then once a court of law has found him guilty and imposed whatever penalties and so on, we are told that Mr. Mahendran has assets in this country. Why should proceeds of crime be allowed to continue when the state should go and grab it all back?
They can do that, but there would be a lot of international pressure. You see, you will get the NGOs getting involved with the natural justice, the proper procedure and all that. I don't think this government has the courage to face that kind of barrage.
No, is it that they don't have the courage because they are the ones who've benefited from the proceeds of that crime.
Precisely. I don't think even people like Iran Vikramanak or the other Silva, they are prepared to take any issue up because they find it very convenient to play along with Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Why is he so frightening? Why is Ranil so frightening?
Ranil is frightening because they know that he may emerge again against Sirisena as the presidential candidate, and if that happens, what's going to happen? I mean, election one will be presidential.
But surely the people of this country are not going to let them get away scot-free with this level of fraud.
You know, it's impossible because in this country people succumb to anything where a person is in power. It's a power game, and I think it's very necessary at this stage to have a new person like Gotabaya or somebody else. I'm not saying Gotabaya or Premadasa. Why doesn't Ranil allow Premadasa to emerge? I mean, here is a man who has nothing against them, but he's intelligent.
Actually, Mr. Gomin Faraz, if you think about it, we in Sri Lanka, we have got the best government that money can buy.
Precisely, you're quite correct.
And then you have to look at how the source of that income, the highways, the central electricity board, the complete and utter waste of money. What on earth are the planners at the CEB doing? Where has there been their forward plan?
No, where's cricket? Where's football? I mean, we have a person convicted of crime in football, but we have all kinds of allegations made against our cricketers. Now, where are we even in sports? I mean, I offered free services. Faisal Mustafa didn't want me retained because he said you must charge fees. I don't charge fees for sports.
But this is what we are practicing in Sri Lanka is a comprehensive departure from due process, where obviously the politicians do not care to deliver upon the people's wishes, and all they are worried about, Mr. Gomin Faraz, is about staying in power.
No, Faraz, I don't think you're perfect. You're spot on because there is due process of power. If not, the last Supreme Court order is a very good illustration that at least the judiciary is clean. Let's face it. But elsewhere, it's absolute muck. It's all corruption, especially in the bureaucracy, especially in the administrative services, especially in the professions, and so is it in business world. I think this country is full of muck, but thank God the judiciary, one arm is now clean. So let's get the other two arms clean, and that can easily be done if you change people at the top. You need a complete overhaul. You need Ranil Wickremesinghe out of the picture. You need Mahinda Rajapaksa out of the picture. Get those two guys out. I think what will emerge will be better because...
What will emerge?
I think the second run is much better, whether it is whoever it is in the UNP or SLFP. I think Karu Jayasuriya or Premadasa would be a far better candidate.
Karu Jayasuriya is so old. I'm so sorry, but this is in terms of this, it is an old fossil.
I know.
Why do we want to be lumbered with a person who's shown himself to be so partisan as a speaker?
No, partisan as speaker, but remember he put Mahinda Rajapaksa in his proper place. He brought him and made him the leader of the opposition. But I quite agree. Karu Jayasuriya is out of the picture because he's too old. You don't need old fossils. I quite agree. But then what about the young Turk? What about Premadasa?
But they're not being given an opportunity. Yeah. There's Harin Fernando, there's Sajid Premadasa.
So many people, but they won't give anyone. Now Disanayaka, none of them will be given a place because Ranil doesn't want any of them. He thinks he's too big. He thinks he's too mighty. It's a question of
No, it's
class.
Because he's got his own little favorite boys, hasn't he?
I know, and these boys will not play to his game, so he doesn't want them. So there it is. I mean, very sad. This country is full of corruption. Corruption has got into parliament. Corruption has reached the executive.
Can you focus on the mechanics, the dynamics, the mechanics of how to take legal action against Arjuna Mahendran?
It's very simple. You can either file a case against him in Sri Lanka or you can give it to the International Tribunal. Don't let the International Tribunal get at it. It has to be done in Sri Lanka because just like the war crimes, we can manage it here, and we have excellent judiciary, now considered one of the best in the South Asia, and I don't know why we have any further trouble in getting these people on the hook and get them into on the correct side of the books. But I think there's one thing very important. We need a change at the top. Mahinda Rajapaksa and Ranil Wickremesinghe must be wiped out.
I'm sorry to interrupt this, but this is the excuse that we need some wider, almost unachievable thing. When what we have in our hand is that we must get to grips with it and take him to court. He can't be la-da-di-daing it all over the world,
yes,
at our expense.
Yes, for us, but Arjuna Mahendra is a small-time player compared to the big men at the top. It's Ranil and Mahinda who allowed all this corruption to thrive. I mean, you got to get them out. I mean, are you going to give them another lease of life as a president and a prime minister of this country? That those two friends will act together.
But don't you think that making Mahinda the opposition leader is an outside deal?
I don't know.
And as evidenced by the way they all cozied up at the wedding.
That is correct. You saw them all together, but that's only a wedding. I mean, I don't want to put too much into a ceremony, because Sri Lankans have a habit, weddings and funerals are special occasions for the Sinhala Buddhists, and that is why they act like way. But let's forget that for the moment. But I think we got to get out of our reach, both Mahinda and Ranil, to get this country back on the move, and then get along with people like Mahendran, because Mahendran is the begwag of you. Faraz, you're the man who unearthed him, you're the man who brought him to justice.
You know, Team Newsfirst, we did all that. But look, Mr. Gomin Faraz, why can't we get to basics? Why can't, I mean, I read the reasoning why, one of the reasons why the Bond boys were given bail was that they couldn't work out when Arjuna Mahendran will be captured, if you like, and got a statement from. Therefore, it was unreasonable, therefore we've given them bail. Well, I don't think, what do you mean? That man's not going to come back when he knows he's going to jail.
He knows he's going to jail. He knows he's going to have his money confiscated. The more important thing is, let's extract the money back to the coffers of the state.
Yes, so we must make a start. Yeah. First of all, they must charge him ex parte.
No, there are very many people who could be charged along with him. For example, his son-in-law could be charged, and a lot of people could be charged, but they are not taking action against anyone. That's
but why? Why this mother of all cover-ups? Why?
Because there's influential people behind. I mean, we know the role that Ranil Wickremesinghe played, and that is why he's covering everything up. And that is why I say Ranil and Mahinda, the other cover-up chief, must be out of politics, because they have had their long innings. Is this going to end up in a never-ending innings is it a life gift of a lifetime? No, it can't be. So therefore I say, once again, reiterate that it is those two who must be out, and we don't want them either as Prime Minister or President, because this country will have another round of this kind of thing, and that at the end of it there will be no country whatsoever.
Trial in absentia, I'm being told. That's the proper terminology to try Mr. Mahendran for his role in the most infamous scandal that has cost the people of this country money. How dare Ranil Wickremesinghe and Malik Samaravikrama say that this country didn't lose a red cent? What absolute tosh.
That's tosh and
the two Supreme Court judges and a retired Deputy Auditor General found very much that it was Arjuna Mahendran who was responsible for passing on sensitive information from which his son-in-law's company was one of the prime principal beneficiaries. They've worked out thus far that the loss to the EPF alone was 8,500 million rupees, and the penalty for that is twice that. So there's at least 17 billion. So where is Mr. Wickremesinghe and Samaravikrama getting their figures from?
No, my question to you, Faraz, is this. I mean, we can get that this gentleman Mahendran, Arjuna Mahendran, find him guilty and have him still roaming around the world. That is not going to be the end of the story, because Sri Lanka will lose all that, because if next time Ranil and Mahinda get together and they become the president and the prime minister respectively, this country has no future. Therefore, I'm begging that these people rise on this occasion, not against the two of them, but against the system, and have the system clean, because getting Mahendran is worthwhile exercise, but he's too small a man in this picture, because there are the two big guns should be fired out of sight. And that's why I say that it's very important that people like Premadasa, people like Gotabaya Rajapaksa come to the forefront because they have been eliminated. Mahinda wants Rajapaksa, Gotabaya, his own brother, out of the picture because he knows he's not the proper man. So I'm saying repeatedly that Mahendran is important. Mahendran is a very key guy. He should, but there's way of recovering money without finding him. Because if you allow, I'm not a great admirer of ex parte trials because that means the accused can have many excuses trotted out in his favor, saying I couldn't defend myself. It was a.
Why not? Who says? It's only Charlie who says that his son won't get a free trial.
No,
that's Charlie's opinion.
That may be Charlie's, but also please remember that when you try a man ex parte, when he's in another country, he can say that it was not a fair trial, and there will be many human rights adventurers who will agree with that point of view. So let's forget him for a while. Let's get at the two big boys and put a new man in the forefront. Then they can act against this.
But he's been notified of the summons. He's the one who's not coming.
All that is correct for us, but the thing is, you find him guilty, it's only the end of an episode.
And now we're finding details about the second bond, which is what we've at Newsfirst has been going on and on and on about.
Quite true, and the second bond, I don't know whether it runs into the term of the last government also. Now we have people like Niwad Cabral talking a lot, but you might see...
I'm talking about the second bond as in 2016 onwards.
Yes, so I don't know what really it means. I mean, I think all these people are having on a comeback trail. And
now there's another thing going on. Now Mr. Aloysius, young Mr. Aloysius is saying that there are another two people, I think officials of the central bank, who were or are officials of the central bank, and that he believes that they should be charged. Now he's dictating terms. So what's this world coming to?
So all this revolves around the bond, and more things will come out if Arjuna Mahendran is tried.
So do you think that by Mr. Aloysius's statement or call through his lawyers, is that not a tacit acknowledgement that there was indeed a scam?
I mean, he can't deny that scam, but it's quite clear. But thing is, no action. Why don't we take action against young Mahendran here, Arjuna Mahendran's son-in-law? I mean, he's available, his CEO is available, but we don't take any action. Still, no action has been filed against anybody.
Isn't it because obviously the young man wasn't allowed to keep all the money?
That is because
he was a tool used by the elders, if you like, the elders led by his father-in-law, to make money for others.
I like the word elders because you are putting it in a plural. It sounds well, but I think that is the point. We must get at the elders first, and elders means not Mahendran alone, but people who are behind him and who are responsible for this. What are we doing? We might elect them as president, and then the people will have to eat all this up and bow down to those people who have been acknowledged.
A policeman
No.
accepted a bribe of 3,000 rupees. He got 5 years.
This has been the order of the day. It's the small man who gets caught for everything, not the big man, and that is what we must overcome. We must go not at the big, we must go
there's a former assistant bank manager who's serving a time in prison. I've met him, and his crime was he embezzled 5 million rupees. He served the better part of 19 years in prison.
Yes, Faraz, I agree with you all the way. We have to get at Arjuna Mahendran and recover the money for the sake of the country. That's the first thing. I mean, there's EPF monies, there's so much money in public tills that have been robbed by these people.
And finally, we have, at least the United States is doing something about it.
Now, Faraz,
Jalia is being charged in the US.
Now, Faraz, let me tell you, why are we not acting against those who are trying to hold them do the cover-ups for them? Why are we not acting against the chief people?
Because they were given a pair of kid gloves, and they were questioned with kid glove treatment. That's why.
True. That is why, and that is why I say that we must get at the top, not at the people at the second layer. We must reach the top layer and eliminate those people, then only can Sri Lanka be a better country. Otherwise, after next round of elections, people will get sick of this election process, and I feel there may be one of these colored revolutions in this country if we don't keep to I prefer democratic process any day with whatever lapses it may have.
Don't you feel that the people are already sick and tired of all the amount of corruption?
I know people are sick and tired, but what can they do? I mean, they will, if Ranil or Mahinda comes into office, I bet that they will once again look up to them and treat them like gods, because that's our mentality. We are a servile nation. We don't have we have very few people.
But the young people who are coming up, they've got no time for this servility.
They have no time, but they don't do anything. I mean, tell me how many young people have been able to, I mean, I would like you to, instead of me, an old man here, why don't you get young people to talk about this? They won't come forward. That's the trouble with this country.
No, they'll come forward all right, but the point is that when a person with your years of wisdom and knowledge turns up here, you're taken with a bit far more than a pinch of salt.
No, that means not so. I think young people must take the forefront. The times come and there are young people. I mean, young Sajid Premandas is a young man. He can take up position.
And you can see what's happening to young people like Sajid, Naveen, Harin and so on.
They're all sidelined.
They're all being held back.
But by whom? By whom? By who is holding Gotabe and the SLP forces back? It's Mahinda. Mahinda wants it for his children. Ranil wants it for himself. So why don't you take steps?
There is a perception that Ranil Wickremesinghe is clean because he has no siblings to account for.
But his action, which you have proved very categorically and comprehensively in the bond scam, shows him that he is not all that clean. So there we are. And but what are we doing? I mean, we are allowing him to safeguard Arjuna Mahendran, and not, you don't want any action against Arjuna Mahendran. You want action against Arjuna Mahendran because you uncovered him. But why don't you uncover Mahinda Rajapaksa and Ranil Wickremesinghe and throw them to the wolves instead of going?
But we have to start somewhere, and
so you start.
It sounds as though the law enforcement agencies in this country are simply frightened. They're frightened. To begin with, Mr. Gomin, all the complaints that were against the Rajapaksas when the government changed was handled. All the petitions were handled or vetted by a politically orientated committee run by the Prime Minister's office. It is they who decided which ones to give away to the FCID, the CID and God knows where else. That's completely wrong, surely.
That is what happened. Not only Prime Minister, I think Sirisena has to take part of the blame, and now Sirisena is in the hands of Mahinda Rajapaksa. Next time you will find him put forward as Mahinda's candidate for the presidential office. So we are played. This is a game that is being played, and we have been misled and deceived. I mean, your own statement clearly establishes that this is Sirisena's work. And do you think Sirisena can win an election against Ranil? I don't know. Some people say yes, but I doubt that.
I think that the president has acted, he gives everyone a chance, and then when enough is enough, he pulls the plug, which you can see is what happened with him with the central bank and so on.
You're quite right. For us, President does many things.
And I think the President, therefore, is more reflective of Sri Lankan society, and which is that we don't go gung-ho, arms blazing right in. First you give them a chance.
No, I think President is more correct, but I don't think he's right on every count, because he has so many skeletons in his own cupboard. I mean, he's traveling around. I mean, surely you can settle all that he did in Singapore with one telephone call. I mean, he's today looking like a loser because he's traveling. Always a traveling president is a losing president, because he's
I think on the contrary, I think it's a president who's showing the people of the country that he's completely fed up with his with the Prime Minister that he got into bed with and appointed, and is having tried and tried and tried. He's now realized that this man is incorrigible, cannot be corrected, and is certainly fits well within this term. You know,
Faraz, just one moment, please. But whom did he go against? He went against Mahinda Rajapaksa. He beat him. People wanted him beaten because he trashed out of sight because he was corrupt.
Yes, but then he found himself in another bed.
Yes, but then why does he go back to Mahinda Rajapaksa again? And why does Mahinda Rajapaksa go back to his Hopper friend? That's my question to you. They are all working. The threesome is working in one triangle, within the scope of one triangle. We got to beat that. We got to untangle that, and to get anywhere further, we must first beat the three of them who are acting in collusion, in not colliding with each other, but were running a smooth campaign. But I think Ranil Wickremesinghe is smarter than them, because Mahinda wants Ranil to contest him and beat him.
Do you think?
Yes. But I think Ranil will not contest Mahinda, but will prefer to go against Sirisena, who has a better chance of winning. And if he wins, well, then we are in serious trouble. Forget about thinking of doing this country anymore.
Mr. Gomin Faraz, do you think that the rural mass out there can relate to this business, that Ranil Wickremesinghe and this government have delivered anything other than good governance?
But you know, for us, people in this country, there are three heaps. There's the SLP heap, there's the UNP heap, and there's an unconcerned, discernible vote. That's the middle vote. That's the important thing, but that's the smallest group. So I think the big vote coming from the UNP and the SLP can overcome any other group. But here, Mahinda Rajapaksa's team will have to face Ranil Wickremesinghe's team, and both teams are unpopular, so that people might vote for a third team, but there's no JVP. JVP has completely let itself down by handling these constitutional issues, much to the detriment of the young people. It's the young people that...
But the JVP too, they like, to me, they like the green Reds.
They like the green Reds because they find it comfortable. No one believes it. I don't think the JVP can ever emerge as a party because of the stand they take on the Constitution. Constitution is the dangerous thing. That is Abraham's work, Abraham Sumandiran's work. Now Abraham Sumandiran, the name itself is very suggestive where he is, but what I would like to say is that if Ranil Wickremesinghe relies on Sumandiran, well then that's curtains for him, for both. And I think both the Sinhala Buddhist vote and the Tamil Hindu vote and the Islamic Muslim vote won't want that combination. But they may have no choice, because if if the candidates are Mahinda, Sirisena and Ranil Wickremesinghe, they have to choose one or the other, and that is the fate that Sri Lanka will have to face. And that is why I'm today here before you to spotlight that, avoid that situation. Get a new candidate. Don't get Karu Jayasuriya, he's too old. But you have a younger man, Premadasa, come, send him from the UNP.
But the decision on who to choose, which candidate will come forward, lies, unfortunately, with that party's Secretary General.
That party's president, my dear.
Yes, exactly. But the official man who signs it all off is the party Secretary General. So what chance have you got when the parties themselves are putting forth the same old rubbish?
That is because Dissanayaka one has to consider whether Gomin Dissanayaka's son will be under Ranil's control or not. But let's see that we get Ranil and Mahinda out of the picture, because I think that's the prime need of the country at this moment. Don't allow them to be candidates at next election. Remember, you disqualified Mahinda from presidency.
The best way, don't you think, to change the whole thing and to put the Rajapaksa thing to bed once and for all is for Ranil Wickremesinghe to hand over the leadership to one of the young Turks in there, maybe Sajid, maybe whoever else. And along with that name, the Premadasa name is eminently marketable. And don't you think that the country's minorities, where there is much concern, will vote hand over fist to see a return of strong leadership via the United National Party,
yes,
led by somebody other than RW?
I agree, because it's the poor that votes overwhelmingly in favor of that, and the poor will prefer any day a new name, because they are sick of, they don't gain anything out of this corruption game. It's the rich, it's the businessmen, it's the professionals, it's the people like that who gain. And I think the best thing is to go at the two of them, remove them from the political scene altogether, and then go at Arjuna Mahendra and the rest of the second rank leadership that has made the money and had benefited. So I agree with you there, Faraz, but I don't agree that Arjuna Mahendra should be the first target. I don't think we should get him down.
It may not be but I think it's the best target to focus one's attention, to focus on corruption, to focus on lack of governance, and to focus on the people's requirement. The people are fed up of rising prices, the people are fed up of no development work, and the people, quite frankly, are quite fed up that they have to rely on the goodness of corporates and so on to receive their most essential things like water or power or housing. Gomin Faraz, it's been wonderful having you on Newsline, as always.
Thank you.
And that's the way it was on Newsline on January the 28th, 2019, Monday. Take care, have an excellent weekend, or week ahead, sorry, and God bless.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.